House Judiciary Committee, meanwhile, I should say, approving the Democrats' police reform bill in a party line vote. That came after a very emotional debate. Democrats sweeping aside a series of Republican amendments that came up. That sets up a full House vote on the bill next week. So let's bring in Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs. He's chair of the House Freedom Caucus, a member of the Judiciary Committee. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning, Ed. Good to be with you.
I want to talk about what's happening in the House, but in the Senate yesterday, when Republican Tim Scott came out, unveiled the Republican version of things, the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, Dick Durbin, actually called it a token approach. He later apologized, said that when he learned that Tim Scott was offended by that, he wanted to apologize. How does that set the table for people coming together or not?
Well, it's part and parcel to what's happening here, where it's party line. It's really divisive, and that kind of offhand comment can really be detrimental to bringing us together. But you know, Tim Scott is a good guy, and he will get over that, I'm sure, and would be willing to work. That's my impression of Tim, getting to know him just a little bit. He's just a stand-up guy, so I think we can overcome slights like that. But what went on in the House Judiciary Committee yesterday was pretty obvious that the Democrats in the House, anyways, do not want to work with Republicans on putting something good and valuable together.
Okay, so let's push it forward from, as you call it, the slights to the substance of what happened. What is the key to what happened in the House Judiciary Committee in terms of them pushing back Republican amendments? How did you want to make the bill better, and how hopeful are you to add 2 or 3 important measures that might make this bill better?
Well, I'm not hopeful that we can get anything meaningful done, because I'll just give you 2 examples, Ed, that I think were really positive that we offered yesterday. One was on qualified immunity, and what the Democrats want to do is they take that immunity away. So they say you don't have to intend, you don't have to be criminally negligent, you don't have to be reckless, but if you just do something wrong accidentally, you're going to be personally liable as a cop. Mm-hmm. And what that does is that's actually rearguard action to dismantling police, because nobody's going to, you won't be able to recruit, you won't be able to retrain, and you're not going to be able to train new officers, and folks are going to leave. I've already talked to police officers who are considering seriously leaving if the Democrats' bill were to become law. The other one, which is a great example of this, is the anti-lynching provision that was in there. Mm-hmm. We offered a provision to make that a death penalty eligible offense, because currently right now the max is 10 years. And the lynching is a horrific crime, of course. And they said no, because death penalty is too barbaric. We don't want the death penalty. So we offered, how about life imprisonment? Mm-hmm. And they said absolutely not. So things that even we knew they agreed upon, right? They would not even accept those. And the anti-lynching provisions is a prime example of that.
So that's what's happening in the House. We mentioned what's happening in the Senate, where Republicans have a plan of their own with Tim Scott, and yet the chairman of your committee and Judiciary on the House side, Jerry Nadler, the Democrat, lashed out at Tim Scott. Let's play that and get a preview of where we're headed. Watch.
It's time now to do real legislation that will really change the situation, that meet the needs of the moment, and what Senator Scott is offering is a sham.
How can they just dismiss what Tim Scott has spent many days on with colleagues? He had a former police officer with him at the podium yesterday saying these are reasonable reforms. How do they call it a sham?
Well, because it's not what their real motive is. Their motivation here is to basically emasculate state and local policing and centralize it in the federal government. That's really what this is all about on a certain level. So when they look at Tim Scott's, Senator Scott's is much more rational, it's reasonable, and it studies some things, implements other things. They don't want that. They don't want that. They want to immediately go in and change things up. I mean, just don't forget, we were told yesterday that what the autonomous zone in Seattle is merely a community garden where peaceful people are hanging out. I mean, that's the kind of dichotomy you are. They said yesterday Antifa does not exist, it's merely a fiction. Nobody believes that. Not law enforcement, not even CNN believes that. So, I mean, they even went after you guys at Fox yesterday. So it was really a bizarre hearing in so many ways.
Right, because obviously it shouldn't be about media companies or all that back and forth. Let's make it about this substance. So in the less than the 30 seconds we have, there's been this national outcry. Both sides need to come together. Let's have reform. There's some low-hanging fruit. For example, banning chokeholds. Are you fearful now as we go through this piece by piece that this is becoming a mess and that we may lose sight of the several key things that both sides said we agree on?
Yeah, I think so, and that's what bothers me so much is I see a one-size-fits-all approach and not being willing to even include the Republicans in discussion, and even amendments that were offered in good faith, which we did yesterday, that they agree with, that they threw it out. So when that happens, you know that they're the majority. I get it. Elections have consequences. They won the majority. And that's what they're trying to do. They're going to grind this thing through without Republican support.
Well, we've got another big election coming up. Andy Biggs, we
Yeah.
appreciate your insights this morning. Thank you, sir.